General networking, network fundamentals. What do you mean I have to know Microsoft? Part 1. Yes, you do have to know Microsoft. In this video we're going to talk about Microsoft operating systems in general. I'll tell you a little about Microsoft and solutions that are available, and then we will cover some more features in details. As you can see, that's really funny. People they make some jokes about the logo. That was in 1985 and in 2012 at Microsoft they went back to the basics, and in a way it is. I was really surprised when I saw the logo for Windows Server 2012. It's well, it is simple. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, we have two main groups of Microsoft operating systems. It's for a client and for a server, and it has been like that for the last 20 years. Of course, there are some other groups and ways you can divide the operating systems. That's the easiest way to do. For instance, Windows 7, 8, XP, that's for a laptop, that's for a PC. We have Windows Server, 2008, Data Center, SBS, all these solutions dedicated to a server. Here on the screen you can see, let me just grab my pen. Here on the screen you can see a really nice server, and that's my main focus in this video to show you how you can deploy a small Microsoft server at home. Windows will offer a free trial version of every single operating system, server operating system, for at least 180 days, more than enough to play with it. Then I know it is pretty expensive. You don't have to buy it, just play with it, see how it works, see if you like it. Watch my wireless video where I covered WPA2 Enterprise. If you have a Microsoft server, you can have a Radius server. Yes, I can see Linux people screaming, oh yeah, we can have a free Linux Radius server. Right. In the real world, most companies will have a Microsoft server. You have to understand what Active Directory is, what the domain controller is, what the RAID server is, and so on. All these things that it's pretty difficult to learn if you don't have a real server at home. Of course, you can always use VMware or VirtualBox and virtualize a server like that as well. It is a solution available for you. I always recommend going for a real device. Okay, VMware is great, VirtualBox is awesome. Nothing will replace a real server. In the real world, at the end of the day, you have a real server. Even VMware, yes, VMware is running on a real server. You have to know it. The box that you can see here is something that I actually have two boxes like that at home. That's an HP microserver. That is, I think, G7, now it's G8. Really nice, reliable, quiet and cheap server. And yes, it is good for VMware as well. It's not the fastest server in the world. You can add, I think, 8 or 16 gig of RAM in it. CPU, it's in this one it's AMD. In G8 it is possible to put, I think, even Intel server CPU. It's much more expensive. This one was really cheap. The good thing about this server was that there was a cashback offer here in the UK, and HP offered £100 back. It means that you could get a server with one hard drive for less than £100. I remember at the time the hard drive was worth like 60 or 70. You have 4 slots for 4 hard drives, slot for a DVD drive, a few USB ports, nothing sophisticated, but it works. It's reliable, quiet, not expensive to run. As you can imagine, a really small power supply. You need a great box if you want to put a Windows Server 2008 or 12, or even play with VMware. It's a great box. Let's go back to Microsoft operating systems and what you have to know about them. It is really important to understand that it is not enough to know how to create a shortcut on your desktop. It doesn't mean that you know XP because you know how to do that. I remember my first Microsoft exam. That was many years ago, and that was XP. I was really surprised when I started to study. I remember I said, well, what do you want from me? XP? I know everything. I was really surprised what you have to know about permissions, tools, everything that Microsoft prepared. You can't even imagine how many things and details you can get from a client operating system like that. And of course, they added hundreds of new options in Windows Vista 7 and of course Windows 8. The same applies to servers. Now we have Windows Server 2012. There are still servers 2008 and they will be around for many years. Not a lot of Windows Server 2003. I would not focus on that. It is a good idea to play with an Exchange server as well if possible. That's a Microsoft email server. It makes sense to have a lab like that at home, create a mailbox, send a test email, set up OWA, Outlook Web Access. I'm pretty sure I'm telling you all these things and you say, oh yeah, I use that. Oh yeah, I have that at work. Yeah, you use it. Make sure you know what that is, how it works, and it would be great if you knew how to set it up. In this video we talked about Microsoft operating systems, and I showed you a really nice HP microserver. I recommend you look at it, Google, see if there is a nice deal for a server like that. If you're interested in VMware, a great box to put a VMware ESX server on it as well. Thank you very much.